Let's talk about ABBA's mythical unreleased song Just Like That, about Voyage Outtakes and much more in today's episode of Sit and Chat. Hey, so welcome to another episode of this brand new segment on the channel called Sit and Chat. And this is basically I sit and I chat, and you chat by giving me questions, and you gave me tremendous questions last time for today's episode, and this is the first one. Sit and chat. I like that. It is interesting, and who knows what topics will come up in the comments. So unlike other videos where the topic is fixed, these can go through a lot of things in one video or just stay on the one that is the most popular from the last one. And the first one that this comment suggested is actually what today's episode would be like. And so it is not a fixed topic. We have several questions and we will go through them. I will guide you and give you insight and my own estimation and opinion on those questions. And those topics today include ABBA's unreleased song from 1982, Just Like That, the unreleased song from 1976, Funky Feet, Voyage Outtakes, and some more about the Voyage album. And we are going to start with Just Like That. And let me preface this by saying, whenever you ask me or I discuss on this channel, generally in the many videos that I've done in the last 3 years, topics that deal with songwriting and with ABBA's recording history, I just put it together. I collect what we have and sometimes draw my own conclusion in addition to the information that is out there. But I have to preface and have to say that the majority of information comes, of course, from Carl Magnus Palm, from the ABBA historian, who gave us mainly in regards to the recording sessions this book with all the researches about ABBA's songs from the archives. So all the credit, of course, goes to Carl Magnus Palm and those researches, and we put it together. And the first question that you had was, I wanted to ask, as Just Like That is actually my favorite ABBA song, is it actually completed? So first of all, we have to define what is the definition of actually completed. So at first, the answer to this question seems obvious. Yes, Just Like That, the recording is completed, and I'll come to that in a second. But then we have to consider the various estimations on this song as well. And then again, we have to ask, from that point of view, is it actually completed? So when we go to this book, and I will quote a few paragraphs considering Just Like That from the Complete Recording Sessions by Carl Magnus Palm. It says, the song would be properly recorded and mixed. Okay, that's that. The second is a press release from 1982 stated, 2 new LP tracks are finished, Just Like That and I Am the City. So what we have, what is out there unofficially from that song are 3 versions. The first 2 versions are rough mixes. Those are not the final version. And those versions are labeled as slow version and na-na-na version. And the saxophone version is the final version, is the recording that is actually completed. And so what is the definition of a song being actually completed? Well, in that case, as we see from these quotes, the song is completed. However, and this is another quote from the book, Björn and Benny soon identified the problems with the tune and the recording as they saw it. It's unfinished, quote Benny. It's a song in two parts. The verse is one way and the chorus another. They don't hang together properly. Essentially, he regards ABBA's recording as not good, and he doesn't feel the experiment with adding saxophone to the recording worked out too well either. He says it's going to remain in the archives forevermore. So generally speaking, from a recording standpoint, as to this song, this recording by ABBA in and of itself, Just Like That, is actually completed. From the perspective from at least one of the songwriters, Benny Andersson, from a songwriting point of view, or that songwriting view, it's unfinished. And that's the quote. And we have, of course, also the most recent actual interview video footage from Benny talking about Just Like That. And this one comes from Ice the Side, and it is from actually 9 years ago already, from 2015. So let's have a look at that.
Well, it's like it always was. I mean, we recorded it, we didn't like it.
So again, we recorded it. It alludes to the fact that Just Like That is basically completed, finished. We didn't like it. So we know that ABBA has always been like, if one of us says no, it goes for all of them. That's why we didn't like it. However, what does it really mean when Benny says we didn't like it? And we just have to look again at the book and the research about Just Like That, and we will find out, well, first of all, ABBA sound engineer Michael B. Dretoff said this: I talked to Björn and Benny about Just Like That the other day, and this is from somewhere in the early 90s, and they said that the verse and chorus don't fit. And I said, what do you mean? They fit together perfectly. It's an incredibly great tune. It's a hit. The book goes on to quote lead singer Agneta from 1993, and she marks the song even as one of her all-time ABBA favorites. She said, I remember it as a very good song and recording. I don't recall why they decided not to release it. A pity, but maybe it's going to be released one day. In 1994, and this is not in the book, but from a news article from that time, which I found just a couple of weeks ago on the Facebook page ABBA Info, Frida is quoted in very high favor of Just Like That as well. And this is from 1994, and she says, Frida wants to release it. I don't understand why we didn't release Just Like That as a single. She is not against going into the studio and doing a new version of the song. Quote continues, Frida is prepared to enter the studio again if the others in ABBA line up for a new version of the unreleased single Just Like That. And again, that was in 1994. 5 years later, in 1999, Björn, this comes again from the book, suggested that Just Like That should be included in the Mamma Mia musical. So there we have it. That's hopefully answers the question, is Just Like That completed, and what the situation about that song is all about. And the next question was equally fascinating. Was there any demo to Funky Feet done by ABBA? So Funky Feet is a song written by Björn and Benny in 1976 and recorded by the Swedish duo Svenne and Lotta. In the book, The Complete Recording Sessions, we have information about a recording from ABBA, but those information seem to me to be somewhat contradictory. It first says, yes, a basic track was recorded. It has Ola Brunkert on drums, Rutger Gunnarsson on bass, and presumably Benny on piano. Agneta and Frida don't recall singing this tune, and there were possibly demo vocals by Björn. But then this very same paragraph goes on, saying that there is no documentation to prove that this attempt at Funky Feet was actually recorded on tape by ABBA as a demo. So I cannot really answer this question based on the information that we have. It seems to me that they attempted to record it. There's no documentation of this song in the archives, at least. And Svenne and Lotta released their version of the song on the album Letters, and lead singer Svenne Hedlund never heard any demo recording made by ABBA. Benny always presented the song to him on piano, so Benny never played a demo that ABBA may have done back in 1976. Your next question continues with ABBA outtakes, and this time it's about the latest ones from the Voyage sessions. We know that there are 2 songs at least recorded but not included on the album, and this comes from Benny again, from an interview from early November 2021, and this is, well, the question that you had was, I wonder, will we ever hear them? And this is what Benny had to say, not to this question, but this was the first time when we heard about the existence of Voyage Outtakes.
Were you tempted to put on more songs than those 10?
No, we had actually 12.
What happened to the other 2?
Oh, they're resting.
In the can?
Yeah, we never really finished them. I don't know. We played it all and we said, that shouldn't be in now, and not that one. It's sort of good stuff, but not really finished. It takes more work, for me at least, in the studio.
So when Benny says those outtakes are sort of good stuff, that's quite a high praise coming from Benny, to be honest, regarding these compositions. However, and this is interesting, Carl Magnus Palm, well, this book was released in 2017. 1 year later, covering ABBA's entire recording history. 1 year later, ABBA announced that they continue to record new songs after 40 years. So Carl Magnus Palm had to write another book, and that one was released this year. It's basically an appendix to this volume, and I have to be honest, I don't have that book, and I don't really know what's in the book. I just don't have it. So I don't have any information, any more new information about the Voyage recording sessions. But what I do know is that Carl Magnus Palm confirmed on his Facebook page one day that he was not allowed to do any more research about those 2 outtakes from Voyage, and that ABBA basically wish to keep those for themselves, something along those lines, and that's all I know. So the question, I wonder, will we ever hear them? I have no idea. I have nothing that. There's nothing that alludes to it. Let's face it, this interview is from 3 years ago. Back then I was, based on this interview alone and the way how Benny speaks about the possibility to finish them, and how positively, for his terms, he speaks about those songs, it felt quite positive. But it has been 3 years, and now they decided in those 3 years that they do not wish to have any more talk or research about those songs. So I have no idea what's going to happen. The next question was, I haven't heard any talk lately about building a second Voyage arena. Did I miss something? Will it be just Australia and nowhere else? And someone else followed up by, will there be another ABBA arena? Maybe America, Asia, Australia, or Sweden? So in the last 2 years, ABBA have been wanting to build a second arena, at least, or more, on another location on Earth. And Björn, Benny, and Ludwig, all of them have mentioned in different interviews, in various quotes across those 2 years, several possibilities for countries, and those were North America, South America, Asia, and Australia. We also know that Björn visited Singapore in Southeast Asia. Björn visited Seoul, the capital of South Korea, in East Asia, and just recently in February this year he visited Tokyo in Japan in East Asia, and all of those most likely to try to look for possibilities to extend our voyage, to build that second arena. And the most recent that we heard in regards to a second arena was just a few weeks ago, coming from Björn again, and it's from this interview from Dutch TV.
More projects in your back sleeve?
Well, first of all, I want to take this party to other parts of the world. America, Australia, Japan, and Voyage as well. And then I have other projects which doesn't include ABBA.
A musical project.
Yes, musical project.
So there we have it. No further definitive ongoing or no development as far as we know. Just that they want to build a second arena somewhere on planet Earth. And someone else wrote, talking about Live at Wembley, the CD and LP, it seems hard to find nowadays the LP of that album. I suppose it went out of print and hasn't been reissued since it was released 10 years ago. So the first release of this album was in 2014 on CD and on vinyl. And the album was actually reissued 4 years ago in 2020, and this time as a half-speed master from Abbey Road Studios. But as far as I know, that reissue of the vinyl is out of print as well, so it is very hard to get. This copy of mine is an original one from 2014, and I'm very proud to have it because it is hard to get. And your final question for me, there were so many and we have to continue in another episode, is this one. Love the sit and chat format, keep it up. My question for you is, what is your favorite item of ABBA merch? Can be something that you own or something you wish that you had. So I had to think about that for quite a while, and I've been thinking. And first of all, and now, well, when it comes to ABBA merchandise, the collection is not very huge, and I also don't have the tendency to collect merchandise, especially new merchandise. But of course I bought these ABBA teddy bears 2 years ago from ABBA the Museum, quite a few of them, And it's not that funny, because actually those teddy bears, very shortly after I bought them, they are no longer available for purchase. I just cannot find them anywhere, and I have them. So I'm very proud of that ABBA merch. And I don't quite understand it, to be honest, because this has become a cult classic on the channel in the shape of some videos every now and then about ABBA's teddy bears, and I have the feeling shortly after that they put them away and they don't sell them anymore, and I have no idea why, but I think that's wrong, because those teddy bears have become, of course, very famous now due to my videos. So it's a little, I think it would have been very clever to continue to sell them at ABBA the museum. But thinking seriously about that question, something came up to my mind actually just this evening, and it is, there has been those ABBA tour trucks from 1977 from Volvo, and to have one of those tour trucks, that would be quite nice, I think. And other than that, this has nothing to do with merchandise per se, but with original LPs from the 70s, which are ABBA related. And now I have to preface this by saying I am absolutely not fond of ABBA covers. I don't listen to ABBA covers per se, generally, but there are a few exceptions, and those mainly goes back to that original period of ABBA's active time, to the 70s, and there are two albums that I wish I could find on vinyl LP. I know they are on the internet, but very hard to find. And the first one is from 1976. It's called Fernando und 11 weitere ABBA-Hits. It basically has ABBA songs in German language, including the two or three of ABBA's original German recordings, of the ABBA's very own recordings, and then cover versions. And the second LP is ABBA Our Way from Nashville Train from 1977, the country flavored album, which we talked about on this channel here as well. So that's it for today. Thank you for listening and watching. Thank you for those very nice and interesting questions. I hope you enjoyed this sit and chat episode. It is for me very enjoyable due to all those questions, so keep them coming and put your question down in the comment section below, and of course also all your thoughts that you have about the discussion from today, about Just Like That, Funky Feet, the Voyage Outtakes, and all the other speculations and informations that we have. Put your thoughts down in the comments below, the things that's on your mind and on your heart, and I thank you very much for participating and hope to see you very soon again. Alright, until then, hey do!